Parliament and us as ministers take the right action to be able to give the person, the people in this community, a little bit of relief. We even ask for much, a little bit of relief. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Irian. I now give the floor to MP Grisha Heiliger Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question is to give relief or not to give relief? That's the question of the night. Okay, you can hear me now? Yes, so the question of the night is to give relief or not to give relief. Of course, every member of Parliament in here wants to give relief to the people of St. Martin. Matter of fact, prior to the hack, prior to all the load shedding issues we've had these couple of months, I've been the queen of asking for relief for the most vulnerable, which is my seniors, our seniors in St. Martin. So for sure, but do we want to give relief to the detriment of the company? We have to find, we need to see if it's even possible. So I did my personal, I asked GEB directly, and of course, they're looking at 5,000 guilders at 23,000 clients. That's about 115 million guilders. Can GB afford that at this point in time? I don't think so. But can I see myself as Minister of TIAT executing some of the things in this motion? Sure. But as we know, I want to, and it's something I actually loathe saying, to manage expectation, but at this point in time, I have to say that I need to manage the expectations of the people of St. Martin. Can I execute a few of these things? Yes, and understand that a motion is a wish. So am I going to, can I see myself executing a few things here? Yes. Am I going to work on the fuel clause? Yes, I think I mentioned that earlier, that I will be doing that. So if I support it, it means I can support a few things on it, but not all of it, and not at the detriment of the company. So with that, Madam Chair Lady, I would support it, but I will manage the expectation of what I can, what can be pulled out from it. Thanks.
Thank you, MP Grisha Heiliger Martin. I give the floor to MP Myers.
Good evening, Madam Chair, and thank you. I was not going to motivate my vote, but I think it's very important that I do, considering just a few weeks ago, we were in here talking about a bailout for the folks from Enya, the 3,080 persons. And I thought it was important to vote to assist those 3,080 citizens to bail them out for what they have contributed to their pension. And here we are now. And I understand the dynamics. I understand the financial consequences that it may have for GB. I understand where GB is at this present moment as a government-owned company. I also understand that government cannot give directives to the company because the management and board is responsible to the company and not the shareholder. But if there is any inkling that we as representatives can in any way say, give the people some kind of relief and help the people, then I am on board. I am on board with that. It is left to be seen what will happen after this motion is presented and approved or not, but it is left to be seen. But I can support this motion because I believe not only where GB is at this particular moment, but where the people of St. Martin are, considering all that we've been through since this hack and subsequently the power outages. So that's my motivation, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Myers. I now give the floor to MP Gumbs.
Thank you, Chair Lady. I'll just be brief. I can see myself supporting this motion for the simple fact of GBs being asked to consider relief. I think we all know the reality, however, of the possibilities of that. And I trust that the Minister of TIAT is going to do, as she has said, she's already working on the other elements contained in the motion. For me, I would have liked to have seen something with more teeth about warning then against how we actually got here, which is by allowing poor governance to continue from a board level, from a management level, because we protect people because they're St. Martiners. And I've said it before on this floor, that at a certain point in time, that has to stop being the only qualification you look at, and you have to look at competence and ethical decision-making to be able to make sure that we don't end up in this situation with GB, Telem, etc., and all the other government-related entities. So with that, I will support the motion and await what happens after, as my previous speaker said. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Melissa Gumbs. Allow me to, we have MP York. MP York, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I wasn't planning on saying anything when it comes to motivating my vote, but after hearing some of this by my colleagues speak, I feel that it's needed. Madam Chair, you know, growing up, I always heard there's a difference between cannot and will not. Simple economics, you drop the cost, you raise compliance. And one of the main reasons why we find ourselves in this situation, like I said, without proper reflection of the past, yesterday's mistakes becomes tomorrow's promises. We're persistent in trying to go behind every single cent that is out there for GB to be able to collect, and by virtue of doing that, you miss the ball. And we have been missing the ball. And that's one of the reasons why GB finds itself in the financial crisis they are in today. You know, 6 wholes are better than 10 halves, and bringing that relief, just as the previous speaker said, MP Myers, if we could bail out Enya for 90 million, why can't we? Matter of fact, I'll go even further. If we could bail out Enya for 90 million, if we could give tax breaks to millionaires, why can't we bail out the small man in this motion? For me, it's very simple. This motion, to me, is a great initiative, something that I think we all campaigned on, and now we have the chance to actually bring it to fruition. And I'm actually shocked that we hear motivating votes and it's not being cast unanimously. But I will for sure be supporting this motion, and I find it commendable by MP Otley, the extent he went with this motion and his resolves, because what I had in mind was something not even a half of that. So it's very commendable, and I will be voting for the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, MP York. Allow me to make use of the opportunity to also motivate my vote. And as popular as the motion sounds, I wish that I could see at least an inch of reality in this motion. The motion calls on government of St. Martin, amongst other things, to ensure that all TOT are not placed on invoices, as it is not common practice for businesses to transfer their TOT to the consumer. That is not an issue of not being common practice. It is not lawful, period. So why such a statement would appear in a motion of this nature, I do not understand. But the part which it really concerns is the second resolution of the motion, to provide financial relief to NVGB consumer by considering writing off, between brackets, 50% to a maximum of 5,000 Antillean guilders, taking into account the financial feasibility of such, from all outstanding residential electricity bills, ensuring that the most vulnerable in society benefit the most from this measure and regain electricity, which is a basic human right. Mind you, this resolution or this motion is being asked, or it's been asked of me to support this motion, a member of parliament that for months this government and the government before has been asking about the relief for seniors by the company GEBE, only to be told via the government time after time that that cannot be a structural part of the budget of GB, the senior relief program for approximately 500,000 guilders a year. And every time again, it is based on political coercion or not that this amount is included in the budget of GEBE. So imagine what this particular statement does. Sarah Westcott Williams decides she's not going to pay GEBE because I am not content with the manner in which GB is load shedding. So I rack up an outstanding bill of 6,000 guilders. GB does not disconnect Sarah Westcott Williams because, after all, her name is Sarah Westcott Williams. So when this goes into effect, what happens then? I claim my outstanding. But my cousin up the hill in Sucker Garden, actually up the hill in Sucker Garden, who looks for 100 guilders here, there, or elsewhere to pay her bill, she has no relief to get. Because after all, her small electricity bill has been paid as best as it can. That cannot be the intention when we say assist the most vulnerable in our community. So how could I support this when we're talking for every consumer? Sarah Westcott, her cousin up the hill, the one down the road, every consumer who for whatever reason did not pay now will get a write-off of 50% with a maximum of 5,000 guilders. And the government and the ministers are not prepared to come out and say, we have issues to fix in GB, and we are going to fix them. And we are going to make sure that those in need of relief actually get the relief. That's not what this motion is doing. Thirdly, if we are not clear about the connection with all kind of relief and the request by government for a loan of 75.6 million guilders, go explain that to those who you are requesting the loan from. That's going to be the next result. So the members of Parliament can ask for the support, of course, but unless the government can tell me that they're going to fix that situation, how many applications are there in GB for compensation for damaged equipment? Do we know that? Why are those persons turned back time after time? And will this help them? No, this will help us, Sarah Westcott, who for her own reasons would have an outstanding amount now to claim 50%. But those who need the relief month after month, the seniors in this country, cannot get it based on this. My approach is going to be different. Ministers of government, this member of Parliament is going to give you approximately 2 weeks to return to Parliament and explain how you are going to give relief to the people with respect to the electricity here on St. Martin, because you have requested a loan. Not that I'll support this motion for the reasons that I just mentioned. It does not reach the most vulnerable, because those are the persons who are afraid every time GB tell them disconnection date is tomorrow, next week. And then they're all over trying to muster the amount to pay their electricity bills. So I hope my motivation is clear. And while the intention of the motion is correct, some of the statements in it are just not correct in this motion. And I cannot support a motion in which the considerations are not correct and the resolutions are not realistic, unfortunately. So after given that motivation, we now go over to the voting on the motion. But I do want to remind the members of government that I am expecting that report from you within the shortest period of time. We go over to the voting on the motion. And I start by number 11. Number 11.